16 of those years, he's had a top 10 scoring defense. Only 2 teams are comparable, the Baltimore Ravens and the Chicago Bears. All the other teams, Coach Belichick's D's have doubled them up. Double the amount of years. Only the Ravens and only the Bears can come close. 13 and 10. Everybody else gets doubled up. We've seen quarterbacks equally as talented, probably more talented, never have this kind of success. Aaron Rodgers, are you telling me Aaron Rodgers is less talented than Tom Brady? Are you telling me?
I'm telling you, Tom Brady's a way better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers.
I'm talking now.
You ask a question, I answer. You said it. They had a question mark at the end. Are you telling me? And I told you.
It's a rhetorical question. It means you don't.
Oh, well, you have to preface with this is rhetorical.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dan Marino, was he not as talented? No. Yes, absolutely. But.
So you answer your own questions now.
But, yes. Okay. But he didn't have the pieces. Coach Shula, Mike McCarthy. You see, Skip? Mike McCarthy couldn't keep those pieces around Aaron to be successful. He couldn't give him top 10 defense. Last time Aaron Rodgers had a top 10 scoring defense, guess where he went? He was in Jerry's world.
Oh.
He won the Super Bowl against the Steelers.
Almost
done
10,
well.
10 years ago.
You know how I know? Because I was on the field for the coin toss. That was the year I got elected to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was there. And I watched him up close.
Boy, that's a long time ago.
Seat for you.
You know what's Skip?
You were a young man.
Said that so sly right in there.
Look, at the end of the day, Skip, I think a lot of this has to do with people they like Tom Brady. I mean, he's all.
Who does? Nobody on this show does.
I
me.
personally do.
He's an all-American kid, 6'4.5", great smile, great wife, family, all that stuff. And Coach Belichick, he's a curmudgeon, and he's very condescending, and he's like, how dare you ask me anything about what transpired in the ball game when you know nothing? How dare you ask me when you have a infinitesimal amount. I have infinitesimal amount of knowledge more about the game of football than you do. And so he comes across, Skip, it like, Coach Belichick wants to do his job. And the media like, Coach Belichick, we just want to do our job. And you do know a part of your job is, as far as coaching and putting players in place, is to come up here and answer our question. And so he rubs a lot of people the wrong way. He comes across as like, but Skip, there's no doubt. There's no denying his greatness as a coach. That you see that defense, historically, you tell me it's historically great. That's what you've been telling me, Skip. You've been telling me it's historically great.
Which one this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking that way.
It's
been a long time since they had historically great.
First of all, they've never really had a historically great defense.
Yep. I'll give you 2001. I think it was really good. Underrated good.
They were really, really good. And you know, in order to go down as historically great, you're going to have to win the title. That's the only way you get credit for being historically.
It's the way they won the title against the greatest show on turf.
Okay.
Hold on. Tom Brady played, what was he, a safety or a cornerback then?
He just pulled off the game-winning drive in that game. As a first-year starter, he pulled that off.
So Coach Belichick's defense, led by Coach Belichick, held a team with 4 Hall of Fame. Let's see, Orlando Pace in the Hall of Fame, Marshall Faulk in the Hall of Fame, quarterback Kurt Warner's in the Hall of Fame, and Isaac Bruce for the last 4 years have come up on the ballot. And he held that team to 17 points.
It was something. It was a one-hit wonder. That started the run. But I give you that one, and that's the first of 9 Super Bowl appearances.
Whoa. If I'm not mistaken, Jenny, you remember last year. Can you tell the people at home, the team that led the league in scoring last year, that averaged 35 points a game, how many points did they score in the Super Bowl? They scored a grand total of 3. Now, I just want to know.
Guess who got exposed in that game? Jared Goff.
Whoa.
He was actually Mitchell Trubisky in disguise.
Oh,
that is not nice.
He got exposed, but your quarterback had a 26 QBR on a scale of 0 to 100. 50 being average. Where's 26?
Who led the game-winning drive in the middle of the fourth quarter?
Who
did?
You see?
Who hit 5 straight
I know who that guy was.
He hit 5 straight to get it to 26. So before he hit those 5 straight, what was his QBR then? Maybe in the teens.
Okay.
So Coach Belichick, 75-25, and I'm not backing down.
Who has been his nemesis his whole career? How about Wade Phillips when he was in Denver, and now Wade Phillips when he's coaching the Rams defense? Right? Am I right?
Yeah, wait.
Okay, thank you very very
great job
much.
with Brady.
Okay, and he did a really great job on Tom Brady, and Tom Brady's had a hard time against him for years before, and he had a hard time that day, and he still figured it out. He solved the Rubik's Cube in the fourth quarter and went bing, 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 bing right down the field, and that's all they needed. Was that not all the points you needed to win that game?
Yeah, because Coach Belichick defense only gave up 3.
Yeah.
When you only give up 3, you only need 7 to win. Really, you only need the 4, but there's no 4-point plays.
Jared Goff.
Stop it.
Okay. Tell me when it's my turn.
It's your turn.
Thank you. Finally. Boy, that went on forever.
He was under oath, so he had to
I'm
get
out
it
of
all
gas
out.
over here just listening to all the gas that was coming across the table. This is actually a silly conversation.
No,
to
it's
have.
not.
Yes, it is, because all you need to know is what happened when Bill Belichick went to Cleveland as a first-time head coach. He was there for 5 years, and his overall record was 36-44.
Yeah.
Not very good.
Yeah.
And he had he had 4 losing seasons, and the fourth losing season cost him his job. So he got fired. He had 1 breakthrough, which was 11-5, and he made the playoffs. And that team actually beat the Patriots, quarterback by Drew Bledsoe, in the first playoff game, beat him 20-13. So why was it that he struggled? Well, he had Bernie Kosar at quarterback, and then he had Mike Tomczak, and then he had Vinny Testaverde at quarterback, and he had various Mark Rippons at quarterback here and there, and he was just mixing and matching, and everybody's looking for a quarterback, and so was Belichick. He was just like the rest of the world for all those 5 years. But Vinny got him to 11-5 and into the playoffs, and they beat New England because New England had Drew Bledsoe as its quarterback. And in that game against Belichick's defense, he went 21 of 50. That's not even close to half your passes that you completed.
Nope.
For 235 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 picks. 3 picks. So they won that game, but then they ran into the Steelers in the next playoff game, and Belichick's vaunted defensive genius gave up 238 yards rushing to the Steelers, 424 total yards, and his offense, featuring Vinny, had 186 total yards. So your quarterback can take you only so far, especially when you play no defense in that game, which brings me to my point. He gets a second chance in the league to Foxborough, to New England.
And that normally what happens.
Okay, all right. So he got his second shot. In the first year, he went 5-11 with Drew Bledsoe at quarterback. Help me out. What's going on here? Then he starts off the next year 0-2 with Drew Bledsoe at quarterback. So now your record is just plummeting down to total. It's 42-58 at that point in your career. So I've talked to assistants on that staff who said they were ready to put their houses up for sale because they thought they weren't much longer for the NFL world. They were all going to have to scatter and look for new jobs.
Right.
And this kid fell out of heaven, out of the 6th round, into Belichick's lap. And Belichick had nothing to do that I know of with actually drafting the kid. He signed off on it. And again, he was running the draft, but it wasn't like that was his hand-picked next, quarterback of the future.
Right.
He was like the 6th quarterback in camp to start off with. So the point is that not only did Tom Brady save Bill Belichick, then he made Bill Belichick. Because I will give you this. I'll give Bill Belichick the greatest defensive mind ever. It's a quarterback's game. The position is so powerful. The game is so weighted. It's almost like rigged for the quarterback. That if you don't have one, you're going nowhere. You can have the greatest defense ever. And if you don't have anybody at quarterback, that will be your undoing in the playoffs. And not only did he have the quarterback, his quarterback has 6 rings with 6 game-winning drives. That's preposterously great. That puts you on the map because I give Bill 25% of the credit, which to me is a lot. But the quarterback gets 75% because he is the greatest player in the history of this game.
Skip, look, in those Super Bowls, Coach Belichick, I'm going to lay the blame at his feet for one of those Super Bowls. And that Super Bowl they lost to the Eagles. But if I tell you, if my coach would tell me, say, all we need is 20 points and we're going to win the game. You look at what they lost. Look at the game. Look at the Super Bowl they lost, Skip.
Can I do that right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for bringing that up. How about the first Eli Super Bowl? What happened in that game? Tom Brady against a defense he was having a hard time with because they could not protect him.
They just scored 38. They just scored 38 3 weeks earlier.
Okay.
They couldn't protect it.
So did he not finally crack the code in the fourth quarter? He goes on a vintage 12-play, 80-yard drive that eats up 6 minutes of the fourth quarter, and he goes down and hits Randy Moss with a 6-yard touchdown pass that puts New England ahead 14-10.
14.
Then what happened to Belichick's defense at that moment?
14.
Help me out.
14.
Okay, now the onus is back on Belichick's defense.
14.
You got to stop Eli Manning.
Hold on, Skip.
Okay, wait, no, don't hold it.
Okay, go ahead.
Here comes Eli Manning. Are you kidding me? He goes on a 12-play, 83-yard drive, climaxing with a 13-yard touchdown pass to Plaxico, and they win the game 17-14, and that came with 35 seconds left, so it was basically over.
I'm trying to figure out. Now, at that point in time, the New England Patriots had scored the most points in NFL history. They were averaging about 36 points a game. That's with Tom Brady, who had just thrown for 50 touchdowns, 4,800 yards with 8 interceptions. And you mean to tell me all you can get me is 14 points?
Was that enough to win the game?
No.
Yes.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, it wasn't
No,
because
17.
Belichick's defense spit it up again.
No, 17.
Right on time,
17.
right on schedule.
No. And then what happened?
Eli Manning, who nobody had any respect for at that point, he'd come out of nowhere.
Okay.
They were a wild card, a road wild card team.
So you should have walked the floor. Hold on, Skip. You had just scored 38 on them.
I need your
earlier.
answer. How do you explain 12 plays, 83 yards against the defensive genius?
The same way I explained 14 points. 14 points with Tom Brady. Tom Brady in the Super Bowl era is the only unanimous. He might be the only unanimous MVP in the history of the game.
Good.
And he got me 14.
All right.
With Randy Moss, who set an NFL record, 23 receiving touchdowns. And you get me 14 measly points.
Should have been
And I'm
enough.
supposed to be happy with that.
Should've been,
Okay.
yeah.
And
Where
what about
are
the
you,
next one?
Bill? Help me out.
Tommy.
Yeah.
Tommy Terrific. What about Tom Terrific?
Yeah.
What about Tom Terrific?
He did
I
it.
need you to be Tom Terrific.
Game-winning drive. That was his seventh game-winning drive.
You were Tom the Mundane.
Tom
the Average.